Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Today I want to introduce you to my new project. I've bought myself a CBR929RR Fireblade. The bike is a year 2000 model, so it's the 929, which was a major upgrade from the previous model, and it introduced fuel injection for the first time and thankfully a 17-inch front wheel. The bike I've bought has covered around 19,000 miles in 22 years, so it's been lightly used, but for the last 7 years or so it's been hardly used at all, and I suspect it's sat in the corner of a shed somewhere, probably with a sheet over it, just sitting there waiting for someone to come along and love it. Well, I've come along and I intend to do quite a lot to it. So given the time it's sat doing very little, the first thing that needs doing is a major service, and it's booked into a tuning shop in about 2 weeks' time, where I've instructed them to change all the fluids, get the bike running well and make sure everything is in good order, and also to fit a power commander so we can remap the fueling. I'm also going to ask them to fit a quick shifter. I've had quick shifters on other bikes and I absolutely love them, so I'm going to get one fitted to this bike. Another major change that is required urgently is the suspension sorting out. The rear shock is, I suspect, the original and it's utterly knackered. The front forks need a complete service, and I'm going to get the internals replaced with K-Tech internals, and then I may need to get them resprung depending on how the bike sits with my weight on it. The rear shock is being replaced with a YSS unit, and that's on order at the moment. The other thing that obviously needs changing is the tyres. The tyres are dated 2015, and 7 years later, although they've got loads of tread on, I think it's time they got changed for some fresh rubber. Another thing that's expired is the brake lines. Brake lines have a date on, and the date on these is December 1999. So they are well past their sell-by date, and they will be replaced with HEL braided brake lines throughout, front and rear. Another thing that needs attention is the brakes. I intend to, when I do the brake lines, strip the calipers, clean them, make sure the pistons are in good order and replace as required. But on the front I'm going to fit Galfer discs and pads. Galfer discs have a high content of carbon in the steel, and it makes the stopping power on those discs exceptional. I've had them on another bike and I was seriously impressed with them, so that's going to get changed too. I'm also going to change the indicators. The bike has fallen over a couple of times in its life, not thrown down the road, but it's certainly fallen on one side and the other, and the front indicators seem to have taken the brunt of it. So they'll be changed for LED indicators. I don't really like the indicators that are on it at the moment. Although they are of period, they're huge. It's like having a flower pot stuck each side of the bike. The bodywork is not in bad condition if you ignore the scratches from when the bike's fallen over. What I had originally thought I would do is get parts of the bodywork resprayed. In fact, I thought I'd get the whole bike resprayed. I even ordered a set of stickers for it, which arrived today, strangely enough. The thing is, respraying it and putting the stickers on is the thick end of 1,500 quid. So I needed to find a cheaper way of sorting the bodywork out. And I ordered, reluctantly, from China, a set of bodywork. The cost of that was £340, and it's supposed to arrive the middle of February, which will tie in perfectly for when I get the bike back from the tuning shop. I'll see how the panels fit. I've read varying reports. Some say they're excellent, some say they're not, and I think generally the quality is variable. So I'm hoping the quality of the ones that arrive here are good, and I can change them over and the bike will look great. I will keep the old panels though, because if I do decide to respray the bike and put the original panels back on, that will be a job for next winter. Another thing that will be done is the wheels will be powder coated black again. They are gloss black at the moment, but they've been scuffed a few times with changing tyres, etc. Although not in the last 7 years, obviously. So they'll be powder coated gloss black again. I'm also going to change the rear light. There's nothing wrong with the rear light, but it has incandescent bulbs and I want to change it for an LED unit. And part of the reason for wanting to do that is because I want to fit a fast flash LED module. I've got one already, and when I bought it, I bought 3 or 4 because I've got several bikes and I wanted it fitted to all of them. It's a great little unit. It costs about £8 and it gives 5 fast flashes, 5 slower flashes and then a constant. So people behind me, car drivers essentially, can see that I'm starting to slow down or I'm stopping, and maybe it might draw their attention. The other thing that is slightly disappointing on this bike is that there is no provision for putting Paddock stand bobbins on. I want Paddock stand bobbins on because I use Paddock stands, and although I can put a Paddock stand on using the L-shaped rubber pads under the swing arm, I don't feel it's as secure as having a hook on a bobbin either side of the swing arm. So I'm going to get some riv nuts and I'm going to drill either side of the swing arm, put the riv nuts in and then put some Paddock stand bobbins on. So that will help me out in the workshop a lot. I'm also going to fit, perhaps controversially, a gear indicator. Now, I know that people out there say, why do you need a gear indicator? If you don't know what gear you're in, you shouldn't be riding a bike. Well, I've been riding bikes since I was 14 and I'm quite old now. And there are times when I'm not sure what gear I'm in, and that's not due to Alzheimer's. The first bike I ever had with a gear indicator was a Gixxer 1000, which was a 2007 K7 model, and I loved it. It was a bit like having a car with air conditioning. Once you've had a car with air conditioning, you don't really want to have a car without one. And I feel the same about a gear indicator. So a gear indicator is going to get fitted on this. I'm also going to fit a temperature gauge. On my Kawasaki Z900RS, I have a temperature gauge, which I'd never had a bike with a temperature gauge on before. And in fact, it's quite useful. Firstly, it confirms to me whether I'm in a temperature that I should actually be riding on, and secondly, it tells me when I'm riding in a temperature where I should be sat inside, sitting by the fire. And it's just purely out of interest. I find it quite interesting. So I'm going to fit one of those. I'm also going to change the windscreen. The windscreen's got this funny sort of rainbow effect coating on, and I'm going to just fit a black one. I'm also going to change the headlights for LED bulbs, both on the running lights and the dip and the main beams, and that should sort out any visibility problems at night. And then lastly, or near the end, I'm going to fit new mirrors. Not because the existing ones are broken, but because they're quite badly scratched. And while I'm doing everything else on the bike, I might as well change the mirrors as well. So that's some of the changes, probably most of the changes. There will be others. There will be some things I've forgotten and some things I will add to as I go through the project. The bike's going to leave here in a couple of weeks and it's going to go to the tuning shop. When it comes back, I shall make another video and I'll be explaining to you as I go through the process what I'm doing and why. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up or make a comment below. And until then, I shall see you on the next one. So thank you for watching. Cheers for now.